without them. Here is the John Aldington Trophy grid under the governorship of Mr. Richard Mines. Row 1 is 64 Andrew Jordan on pole, 77 Mark Sumpter alongside, and 9 Phil Hindley on the outside. Row 2 will be 6 Mark Bates and 1 Santiago Orjuela. Row 3 will be 100 Juan Pablo Orjuela, 25 Bill Wickham, and 10 Didier Denain. The fourth row of the grid comprises 19 Chris Harris and 2 Lee Maxted Page. Row 5 is 4 Steve Monk, 161 Rob Russell in that ex-Vic Elford car, and 57 Peter Rutt. The sixth row, 24 Adam Richardson and number 23 Richard Atwood. The Le Mans winner of 1970. 15 is Peter Torniola, 21 Marshall Bailey, and number 8 Simon Bowery. Row 8 is 911 Robert Barry, 16 Tony Gaymond, and row 9 we should see number 5 Alexis de Riguero, and 7 John Allen, who the cameras can pick up in the assembly area. So this is our one-make race. We had a one-make Cobra race before, didn't we, here at Goodwood, but the car's coming around with that distinctive flat 6 Yow, superb horizontally opposed boxer engines, dry sump lubrication, and of course they were purpose made for motorsporting events. The specification was such that they would succeed in races, in rallies, hill climbs, you name it, they were perfect for that. Well, lovely to see them coming around onto the grid. Very aspirational model, the 911. Who doesn't want a Porsche 911? Don't see too many hands going up.
And the early one's quite tricky to handle. You needed to be not lift off the power halfway around the bend, otherwise you'd swap ends very quickly. Yes,
much later on the longer wheelbase cars actually were a bit different. But I remember one of the top 911 instructors, Mike Franey, saying that we went on to race in Formula Atlantic, that if you were out of control in the corner and the car was sort of ploughing off course, the best thing to do was to take your hands off the steering wheel and your feet off the pedals, and it would kind of sort itself out, all being well.
Some airplanes you can do that. If you get into a spin, just take everything off and it'll sort itself out.
There's Mark Bates, who we normally see in a yellow RSR from the 70s. Competes in the Masters historic championships and achieves a lot of success in those. He and his brother James both competing down from north of England.
Great that so many of these early Porsches have survived, because there hasn't been a race series for them.
Well, I think it's one of those marks where if they do get damaged, they just bounce back better, don't they?
Yeah.
You wouldn't scrap one. So they're all down here now. Back row is 5 and 7.
We got a bit of a panic on the last row of the grid, number 7, waving to the marshals. Maybe it's not happy. That's John Allen's car. But it seems that all is sorted. No yellow flags waving for him.
So it's the silver car of Andrew Jordan, which leads away on this green flag warm-up lap. And you can see the car of Mark Sumpter, 77. That's the one with the subtle Paragon livery, the bright blue and light green marks on the front of its prow. Then you've got Phil Hindley in the white car with the yellow and black markings. So difficult to perhaps differentiate between those top three from a distance, but we'll do our best. Mark Bates and Santiago Orjuela on row 2. So one or two distinctive colour schemes. They tend to be fairly well down the order. Thought we'd like a nice glass of beer. That would go down very, very well. Bring it on. Cheers. could only be a Porsche 911, couldn't it? Listening to that, splendid exhaust note.
Air-cooled flat 6.
Yep. There was a flat 4 version as well, wasn't there? The
912.
Yep. Yep. Show. Kind of hark back to the days of the 356s, the bathtub cars. Raced really successfully in historics in the States by the likes of Victor Skirmance and Joseph Cogbill III. So Andrew Jordan, a driver of the current generation, and won the British Touring Car Championship a couple of years ago. But his family ran the Eurotech organisation in Birmingham, and they did a lot of work with Porsches. Mike Jordan, Andrew's dad. And
what's Andrew driving in BTCC this year?
Who's he with this year? He's just got well on that one.
He's just changed team. I know
He
that
has,
much. I'm racking my brain.
Yeah. Henry will know.
So very helpfully, the pole position car is silver because the bunch of those behind are white. But there's Andrew Jordan sitting number 64,
Yes,
ready to start his 901 from pole.
He's got that yellow panel essentially at the bottom of the luggage compartment on the front to differentiate his car. Andrew Jordan used to driving cars nice and sideways from his rallycross days.
Mark Sumpter only 2/10 behind Andrew in second place on
Toniola's car with a distinctive number plate, 901 TOG.
Terrific traction off the line, the rear engine 911.
Yes, they'll sit down well as the drivers drop the clutches and squeeze away. Works MG for Andrew Jordan this year. Thank you to Kevin Turner, editor of Motorsport News, who flipped me that note. Oh, right down the grass. That was an interesting way. And 25 cut across in front of the white car that was on the grass there.
Mark Sumpter didn't get off very well.
No, it's Jordan leads, that's for sure.
Mark Bates, king of sideways, proving it yet again as he took Madge with great style there, not so effective. Chris Harris has got the onboard camera and he's looking forward at about a dozen cars ahead of him.
I think it's one of the Ojuelas who was on the grass. Might have been I think it's the 100 car of Juan Pablo Ojuela. Here they go, powering down through Ford Water corner towards the kink and now towards you, Bruce.
Under my toes goes Jordan in the lead, very sideways. Sumpter was at the kink before St Mary's, lost him a little bit of ground though. So in third place we have a big chase on number 9 tucked in under his tail. That's Phil Hindley. He knows Porsche 911s incredibly well, and certainly he has closed in a little bit more through Lavant. So a little too, how should we say, sideways and exuberant at the corner before St Mary's. That cost Mark Sumpter ground in number 77 in second place and is allowing Andrew Jordan to escape.
Yes, he is, and Sumpter is in second place. Hindley looks like he is in third, and then it's Mark Bates in the fourth position car. Slight gap back then to the rest. There's number 9. There's Phil Hindley in third place, but it's the silver car of Andrew Jordan. Oh, that's hit the curb, that's a good idea. Unsettled the Harris car,
which is running, I think, about 9th place there, just at the tail end. So, Mark Sumpter giving chase.
One's gone round. We've got a car round. Just spins, but it's all safe. Number 8.
Simon Bowery, he was starting down in 18th place, and I'm afraid he dropped right to the tail of the field there. So now it's Jordan, Sumpter, Hindley and Bates from one of the two Ojuelas. That's number 1 Santiago, so that's the top 5 drivers on the grid. In fact, in grid order.
Rob Russell, number 161, was very slow away, but so he's almost at the back of the field.
Also from Kevin Turner, Andrew Jordan's targeting a 33 in the race. He did 34.6 yesterday in quali. So let's see if he can fulfill his prophecy.
Well, if people like to see cars being driven sideways, these 911s and the 901s that preceded them, until Peugeot interjected and said they had the rights to the 3 digits with the 0 in the middle, and made it become the 911. These cars are fantastic. The sweep before St Mary's and then through St Mary's, super sideways. So Santiago Orjuela on your screens, the white car with the red, blue and yellow on the bonnet, being chased very hard indeed by Didier Denat in number 10, and indeed by brother Juan Pablo Orjuela in number 100 as they go over the start-finish line. That's the battle for 5th place. Fastest lap of the race set so far by Andrew Jordan, 1.6 second clear now of Mark Sumter.
Yep, Jordan in the 34.8 at this point, which is only a couple of tenths away from his qualifying best.
In car with Chris Harris, he's in 9th at the moment.
So it's Jordan in 64, 77 Sumter, 9 is Hindley. Then we've got Bates in car number 6, Orjuela in
oh my
1.
golly, sorry Marcus, I had to cut in. I've not seen a 911 go that sideways for many a year. And it's number 6, Mark Bates. He was fantastic yesterday. He was right on the tail of Phil Hindley as they went through the King before St Mary's and showed us all of one side of his car. Greatly enjoyed by motorsport editor Damien Smith, I've just spotted down there, with Marcus Simmons of Autosport, loving the action at St Mary's. But the great entertainer is Mark Bates in 4th place.
And sadly, a pit caller is Rob Russell with the ex-Vic Elford car. GBB 911D, and he's in the pits. That is a shame, but out front it is Jordan scampering away with this great tussle here with 5 cars locked into it, and Chris Harris, who's excelled in TTs in Revival's path, tagging along onto the back of this quintet. Jordan, new fastest lap, 34.7, very consistent. 1.8 now his advantage over Mark Sumter in the Paragon car number 77. Hindley, Bates, Orjuela are the next group, and then behind Orjuela, Denat, the other Orjuela, Wickham and Harris.
Yes, that's a fantastic scrap for 5th place. It seems the first 2 are fairly sorted with that 1 and just under 2 second advantage between 1st and 2nd. Mark Bates pushing very hard in 4th, doesn't seem to be able to do anything though about Phil Hindley. He gets in close and then perhaps his exuberance gets the better of him. Then there's that great 5-car battle for 5th place, and still Santiago Orjuela hanging on there. At the back of that group is the camera car, Chris Harris in 19.
Number 9 there. Is it the number 9 car? Yes,
That's
Hindley. It was so close to the grass, turning into the first element of Lavant Corner, using every inch of the track, using it beautifully as he pursues Mark Sumter.
Sumter had a fastest sector 1 time, and then Jordan countered with sector 2. So the gap between them not changing.
I suggest that Phil Hindley in 3rd place is probably ran wide because he was being so entertained by the sideways Mark Bates behind him. He had to watch it in the mirror, but anyhow, still in 3rd, and it's very close in that 5-car battle for 5th place. Great that we've got the camera car in the one at the back of them, which is Chris Harris. So if you're looking at the big screen, it's closing in on Bill Wickham, who in turn is catching up with Juan Pablo Orjuela in number 100.
3rd successive fastest lap for Andrew Jordan, a 1:34.431, although Mark Sumter, his pursuer, a PB at 1:34.571. 2 of the 3 sectors were the best of any in the race.
So the gap as close to 2 seconds as you can get between Jordan leading the race and Mark Sumter giving chase. Phil Hindley still a fraction of a second. It's certainly come down between he and Mark Bates. Around the back part of the circuit, Bates catches up, and then comes that fantastic 5th place battle with Santiago Orjuela leading it to number 1. And I don't know if number 10 Didier Denat has got any answers. He's close, but just doesn't seem to be able to make a move.
Yeah, Bates is closing on Hindley, you suspect, and at various times you can see that car control of Mark Bates is quite spectacular, as you say, Bruce.
One driver who's just gained a couple of places, we should highlight him, he's just moved from 12th up to 10th, is Richard Atwood. Obviously mighty Porsche history, victory at Le Mans in 1970. Mark Bates trying to get victory here today, but certainly putting the heat into his tyres.
Yes, he's looking to get the prize for the most spectacular 911 driver. Another fastest lap for our race leader. Gap is now 2.7 first to second, and 34.4 again, but a shorter 34.4 than last time round.
We gained him 7/10 of a second. Quite naturally, West Gillette is keeping the cameras on this battle for third place. 9 and 6, Phil Hindley and Mark Bates. They know 911s very, very well indeed. And Mark, you feel, is just sometimes every time he gets close, he has one moment just where he's a little bit too exuberant, and he has to do it all over again. Not that we're complaining.
No, absolutely not.
Getting up to Lappery now, and car 64, our race leader Andrew Jordan passes number 8. That's Simon Barry's car that had the moment early in the race, and has no problem at all getting by, so kept his momentum, carries on in the lead. 2.7 seconds clear last time around.
Yeah, Bates has got a very heavy right foot, hasn't he? He's come now as close as he's ever been to Phil Hindley, and that was a great use of a bit of curve. Get the tail out and then aim it at the apex for Bates. Sumpter meanwhile just involved with Lappery. We're working lap 6 of this race, still 10 minutes and more to go.
I think that sideways motoring is slowing Bates down a little bit. Very oversteery, isn't it?
It is, but it seems to be well within his control to bring it back.
Yeah, frankly, apart from one moment at the King before St Mary's a handful of laps ago, it's all been within the range of it's okay. The one I'm just mentioning almost wasn't, but he held it very well indeed. That was the one that cost him momentum.
Sumpter again, a quick sector 3.
Yes, and the drivers in Hindley has a personal best on his slate.
19 on camera, that's the camera car, that's Chris Harris in 8th place.
Yeah, gone up ahead of 100.
Yeah, who in fact half a lap ago at St Mary's was, that's Juan Pablo Orjuela in 100, was having a go at Bill Wickham, who'd passed him the previous lap in number 25. So chopping and changing down there, plenty to be watching. And that gaggle of cars, if you look at the big screen looking forward, with Chris Harris in 8th place, down the hill from Ford Water, still at the group of that quintet of cars is Santiago Orjuela. Then there's a tiny bit of a gap, the first one he's had for a while, Didier Denay in the red number 10 Porsche, and then Bill Wickham 25, 19 Chris Harris, and to the tail of that group, as we just mentioned, Juan Pablo Orjuela in number 100.
You saw Chris Harris just flick his eye up right to the mirror just to see where the 100 car Juan Pablo Orjuela was.
Slightly off its tail, so now we can focus on Bill Wickham, who's up ahead.
Yeah, can he get a cumulative tow, a bit more than just one set of slipstream down the long straight through the kink? It's called the Lavender Straight. There is quite a quick kink, it's flat and everything. 25 late into the braking area, and that is Bill Wickham. Must have done hundreds of laps around here over the years. Wickham using Clevier Road. Chris Harris now right behind him, and back on his tail with a scrape down the wing ahead of the number 100. Tyre fleck is Orjuela. Juan Pablo.
Oh, big moment coming out of Ford Water. It's Sumpter going round, so pulling Wakely. He's managed to get it back on the track, but the battle for third place has now become the battle for second. Hindley right on his tail as they go past the back marker.
Sumpter had done the fastest lap of the race last time round, a 34.1.
I didn't see the start of that incident at Ford Water. I looked up out of my window as there was a puff of smoke, and round he went. There was a back marker just up ahead, and I think poor Mark Sumpter suddenly ran out of options. Now is Bates finally going to get passes up the inside of Hindley? Looks so he can, but can he get the power down coming out of Lavant? Side by side as they come up to the kink, but with a red stripe up the nose, it's Mark Bates on the inside, but he's pushed to, I think he's just got enough momentum to go past Phil Hindley. Fabulous racing, but as moments ago they were fighting for third, now this is the battle for second, and Mark Bates has gone from 4th to 2nd in half a lap.
He has. He's twigged the car beautifully through the first apex and clips the curb in the middle. Very good waves in acknowledgement to Phil Hindley. Good sporting driving this. Of course, it's all changed. Now Jordan from Bates and Hindley. So 64, 6 and 9. Sumpter is back on track, and with the fastest lap to his name.
He's 4 seconds adrift. Can he catch back into a podium spot? That gaggle of cars with Chris Harris still in the middle.
Well, Phil Hindley's been so accustomed to holding off Bates. Now he's the hunter, and Bates is the super sideways. Bates is the hunted, but he's not certainly showing any caution. Throwing his number 6 911 so sideways, really appreciated by the clever individuals who come to watch at St Mary's. I mean, we all know cars go a little sideways at St Mary's, but none are going to go as sideways as these fabulous 911s and early 901s. And the Bates-Hindley show is fabulous, and Hindley right on the tail of Bates in that battle for second as they go through the Lavant King. Will he get enough of a toe to make a move going down to Woodcote? Marcus.
Well, and he's right on the back bumper now as they come down into the braking area for the double apex right-hander at Woodcote outside the Super Shell building. But Mark Bates is too wily a character. He races Porsche 911s of various denominations.
Quite hard to go past because he's wagging the tail so much it makes the car an awful lot wider.
Yeah, it does. And but Phil Hindley, the top Porsche champion of the past, coming back at him. He certainly wants that place. It's a question of who's done more laps here, and a big sideways for Bates. You can see the smoke come up off that outside rear tyre at Madgwick. He got very out of line, and that really has handed some momentum back to Hindley. There's a car ahead of them as they come down
far enough
towards
ahead.
Fordwater.
It won't interrupt for Fordwater. It will for the Kink, I think, but anyhow, Hindley hasn't managed to make the move, hasn't carried that extra momentum that he gained out of Madgwick. He's closing in as they get down to the Kink before St Mary's, but again, super sideways Bates.
Yeah,
and it's the number 16 car, the red 911 in their path there of Tony Gaiman. Oh, missed gear from Hindley in chase, and that has let Bates escape. Poor Hindley, close right in.
Yeah, Bates was slightly fortunate to weather the storm at the start of the lap. Now the situation, Hindley's got to go around the outside of Tony Gaiman at Lavant Corner onto the straight, but he's lost a lot of ground having missed that gear, as you say, in St Mary's.
Well, that battle that was for 5th place has spread out, but what's happened is Santiago Orjuela has escaped, and then the next four could have been covered by a blanket as they came through St Mary's, so getting very close, and Richard Atwood continues to pick off places behind them. That's great news. On screen number 10, that's Didier Denat still being harried by number 25, that's Bill Wickham, and behind them it's Harris and Juan Pablo Orjuela. They get onto the tail of Wickham and they drop a wagon as they fight and get a little bit too close, but 100 is Juan Pablo Orjuela and 19 now is Harris, so the places are continuing to change.
Yeah, Chris Harris on the back of that trio in the white car with the Cambridge blue stripe over it. This is a possibility if Orjuela can get up the inside. No, not quite close enough to the 25 car of Bill Wickham. There's Chris Harris on the back of this group of 4 cars. Jordan 7.2 seconds ahead of Bates. He reeled him in a bit that lap. Just a question of where they caught the back marker, I think. Hindley and Sumpter in 9 and 77. They're about 6 seconds, 6.3 seconds apart. There's a car parked at the side of the track there. Let's see which one that was.
I must confess, I thought Sumpter might start to make up ground having had his off, and certainly after qualifying, after time practice, he was second quickest, and a second quicker than or more than Phil Hindley and Mark Bates, who were 3rd and 4th on the grid, but he hasn't managed to pick them off.
This is exciting, isn't it?
Oh, a big off, 25, that's Bill Wickham going for a spin, almost causing disaster behind him as his chasing rivals, as Bill completes almost the 720 on the grass. And they had to hit their brakes.
They were lapping the red car, weren't they, number 10?
No, number 10 was in the battle with them, that's Didier
was he?
Denat.
No, yes, he lost ground, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Bill maybe went to the outside of him and just ran out of road.
That's what it was.
So that was lap 11. Round went Wickham twice on the grass. So 10 and a bit seconds to the good. Andrew Jordan from Mark Bates and Phil Hindley, then 8 seconds back behind them to erstwhile chaser of the leader, Mark Sumter, in number 77, back in 4th after his spin out of Ford Water. Then Santiago Orjuela in number 1.
Hindley's got the taste for this battle again, hasn't he? He's fighting his way back up into the slipstream with the number 6 car of Mark Bates. This is the battle for 2nd place. Again, Bates holds his car beautifully balanced on the throttle. Down into Lavant, double apex right-hander. There's our leader, 64, behind the black car of Steve Monk.
Another fastest lap for Andrew Jordan. He's not troubled by the chasers though. 10 seconds clear. Lapped in 1 minute 34.126 seconds. Half a second faster than pole time. So he's really getting in love with this car.
He hasn't got his 33 yet. Has yellow flags waving down at Woodcote Corner, and then greens. So it's overtaken, still on.
Hindley now with lights blazing in Bates's mirrors.
You're not going to squeeze through on the inside there against the pit wall. Last lap then. That really is poetic, isn't it? Just beautiful drifting.
Set off by the daffodils in the background. So Mark Bates and Phil Hindley, 6 and 9, side by side as they go around the final lap. Mark Sumter dropped out of the battle early on. Andrew Jordan leading from the front, 11 seconds clear, down to the King before St Mary's. It's still Mark Bates. He puts the white 911 number 6 with the red stripe up its middle. Very, very sideways indeed. Far more conservative behind him is Phil Hindley in number 9. Has a better exit speed, does Hindley, as he comes out of St Mary's, down the dip and up to Lavant. Not close enough to take a look up the inside, so his only chance will be down the Lavant straight for the final time to see what he can do at the chicane. Don't forget, in the last race, James King hung in there in second, was rewarded when the race leader got it wrong at the final corner and won the Jag race. That's the hope for Phil Hindley.
Yeah, Harris has made it up into 6th place by being absolutely prudent in that 5-car tussle, which has
well, obviously that was separated by
Bill
Wickett when he went for his rotation. And there is our race leader, Andrew Jordan, through the chicane for the final time.
Yep, up to complete the motor race. Hasn't put a wheel wrong, Andrew Jordan, as befits the young pro, and he's been in the 34s for nearly all of the race.
Bates and Hindley out of the chicane, still in that order, and that's how it finishes.
One of those cars on the rev limiter. Must be the car of Hindley in the chase, I suspect. But they finished 0.201 apart, second and third. Spinner Mark Sumter is 4th in at number 77. And we'll wait for the next few cars. Here they come.
Santiago Orjuela just holding on from Chris Harris.
It's a Harris sandwich, isn't it, between the Orjuelas, 1 and 100. But it's going to be Santiago Orjuela who hangs on to 5th place. Chris Harris is going to be in 5th, and Juan Pablo Orjuela is in 6th place. Those 3 cars finishing within 3/10 of each other.
And then somewhat adrift, but with 7 places gained over his grid position, is Richard Atwood in 8th place.
Fantastic. Just stayed out of trouble. Richard Atwood, who won not only Le Mans 70, but won a Formula Junior race here at Gilbert, a members meeting back in 1961. Midland Racing Partnership entered Cooper. Went on, of course, to win the Monaco Blue Ribbon Formula Junior race 63 in MRP Lola.
But even on his slowing down lap, Mark Bates came sideways through St Mary, while waving, of course. There's Tiffany Dell wandering around in the paddock. I'm sure he's on some form of duty, or maybe just enjoying the cars he watched in his youth.
Yeah, his father competed in the first members meeting here in 1948. Tiffany Dell, Tony Dell in a big Ford Coupe, I think it was.
So I think most of the drivers coming back. Perhaps the only one who doesn't have a huge story to tell, apart from a beautiful drive in the lead, is Andrew Jordan, but everyone else was involved in battling from the outset to the checkered flag. And you do have to feel that poor Mark Sumter had his race taken away from him. I didn't see the start of the incident through Ford Water, but I think he came across a back marker and simply ran out of tarmac. A very quick part of the circuit.
He'll be able to tell us on the highlights, which will be out fairly soon, Bruce, that's for sure. All I know is I want a 911 more than I did at the start of this morning. Here is the winning car then, SXI 901, the Porsche Historica entry of Andrew Jordan. Second place car coming in behind number 6. So it's 64, 6 and 9, 77, 1 and 19 is our top 6. And Andrew Jordan about to pop out of the... Yeah, he pats the Porsche on its roof. It's absolutely pristine still, which is great. Shakes hands over the picket fence and pops his Red Bull crash helmet off. Looks around for the girls who are going to present the award, the Belstaff girls, and lurking somewhere locally will be Henry Hope Frost. There's Andrew, pleased with his morning's work. Henry Hope Frost, you're with our victor, Andrew Jordan.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
I was having some fun at the end then. Yeah, I was,
must have been boring.
No, not at all. No, these cars aren't boring to drive. They're so much fun. And when I saw, did Mark have a big spin or something?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Because he was starting to catch through the traffic, so I got a bit of a bad run on some cars. But then when I saw I had no pressure from behind, I just thought, I'll just use the rear tyres up and just show you both, and then at the end. Great.
It's ideal for you, isn't it? Because a 911's a mixture of a touring car and a rally car.
Well, you know that I love going sideways in cars, and this is the perfect way to do it. So, yeah, it's my first win at Goodwood. Dad has given me stick since the revival because he won and I didn't. So
you had a heat win, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, the car did.
He did. I didn't. So, yeah, fantastic. The car's great to drive, and really enjoying my racing it here at the weekend.
Good stuff. Well done.
Thank you.
Andrew Jordan, then winner of the John Aldington Cup. Let me go and have a word with the Sultan of Slide himself, Mr. Mark Bates. He's having a chat with Phil Hindley there as well. Thank you very much. That was classic.
Yeah, did you enjoy that?
Yes, we all did.
Yeah, I did too, yeah. So.
Not perhaps the quickest way.
No, it's not. But
it's all about having fun.
It's the most fun way around a circuit, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
He was a bit of bother, wasn't he, old Mr. Hindley, for a bit?
Yeah, he's always a bit like that. So, no, it was a lot of fun. I knew it was going to be a bit of a tough call. But I thought the original green flag was the go, so I was a bit off at the start, and then yeah, but no, it was great. It's a little difficult to pass on here, but no, it was a lot of fun.
Is it slippery out there? It was yesterday.
No, I think that's just the 911s.
So. Yes, great.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was great.
Well done, Mark. Mark Bates, second place then, and completing the podium, Phil Hindley. That was really good. Proper one-make, door handle to door handle.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. Good racing.
Mark Sumter sort of put himself out of contention early on. Did that help a bit, I suppose?
Yeah, I lost a lot of momentum actually. Mark caught me quite a bit because Mark spun in the track in front of me, and there was a back marker as well, and it was a bit tight which way to go. So I was hampered by a couple of back markers, and Mark overtook me with another one. But hey, fantastic racing.
Did you see Andy up ahead stroking it to victory?
I did, yeah. It looked easy for him. Yeah. I bet he hasn't got a sweat on.
These youngsters, eh?
I know, yeah.
Well done, Phil.
Thank you.
I'm going to go and have a word with my learned Goodwood colleague, Mr. Chris Harris. In a second, Phil gets his garland. Martin, come this way. Step this way, Mr. Harris.
Hello.
That was fun, I suppose.
Yeah, it was really good fun. I deliberately fluffed my start to the extent that it would push me back into the pack and I'd have a good race.
Did you feel the pressure of the nice ladies and gentlemen watching you on the big screens from the onboard camera?
I didn't see how much of the onboard was on there. Luckily, there was no sound feed, so you couldn't hear my choice Saxon and vernacular coming through the helmet.
What's the trick to make these things go quickly?
I think you just have to not brake, basically. You can carry more speed on entry than you think, but it's a very finely judged position. If you carry the right amount in, she rotates, and you just hang it there. But if you've got another 3 miles an hour, it just wants to go completely. And everyone on the grid did a really lovely job. In fact, it's a distraction following the car in front, because you're thinking, oh, that looks great. But then you forget that you must actually try and get past it.
And it's owned by, that's Howard Donald, the car, isn't it?
It is.
It's a very nice example.
It's a beautiful car. It's what you call roadable, so it's got the interior in it, and it's got number plates, and Howard uses it on the road the whole time. It's a lovely thing.
Well done, good stuff.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Chris Harris then, who was sort of in the top 10 guys, wasn't he?
Well, we're back live, ladies and gentlemen, and there's the view over the fairground towards the Trundle Hill. Here's our results then for the John Aldington Trophy and the governorship of Mr. Richard Mines. First, number 64, Andrew Jordan. In second place, number 6, Mark Bates, 12.514 seconds behind. Right behind him, number 9 in third place, Phil Hindley. Fourth was number 77, spinner Mark Sumter. Fifth was number 1, Santiago Orjuela. And in the sixth place, the gentleman who Hank Hope Frost just been speaking to, number 19, Chris Harris, in the Howard Donald entry. Seventh was number 100, Juan Pablo Orjuela. Eighth, the legend of Porsche Motorsport, number 23, Richard Atwood. That great number 23, very famous. In ninth place, number 10, Didier Dinard. 10th was number 24, Adam Richardson. 11th, number 25, Bill Wickham. And 12th, number 57, Peter Rutt. 13th was 2, Lee Maxted Page. 14th was 15, Peter Tognola. 15th was number 4, Steve Monk, all Porsche specialists. 16th was number 911, Robert Barry. 17th, number 16, Tony Gaymond. And 18th, number 8, Simon Bowery.